What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC 296. We got Leon Edwards going against Colby Covington.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for the last betting breakdown video of the year, breaking down UFC 296 from a betting perspective, a card that I'm really looking forward to. It's a 12-fight card, a card that is pretty much stacked from top to bottom. We did lose a few fights. We lost the Vicente Luque, Ian Gary fight, which sucks. And then we lost the Muslim Salikov, Randy Brown fight. That sucks. But yeah, still have a ton of action on this card. I do want to thank you guys for a phenomenal year. It's been the best year for me personally since I started doing content years ago. I'm currently sitting up plus 66.9 units. So as long as I don't lose 67 units on this card, it should be a profitable year, which is always good. But I'm not going to be losing 66 units because I don't have anywhere near 66 units on this card. I do have 16 though, which is actually a lot for me. So I have a lot of action on this card. A lot of plus money sprinkles, as always, looking to hit some big props to end the year. We'll break it down. Before we do so, if you guys could please do me a huge favor, leave a like. It's the last video of the year. The least you guys can do is leave a like for me. I do appreciate that a ton. Subscribe to the channel as well. I'll be going live 3 o'clock Eastern time for Best Bet on Saturday. And if you guys know me, you guys know that I'll never, ever say anything's a lock. I'll never say anything's free money. That's just not my style, but I am going to say it here. You know, what is a lock, what is free money, is this free Christmas Day square on PrizePicks. If you guys want to check it out, go to prizepicks.com, use promo code DFSBTN, get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. And I know nothing about basketball. I haven't watched a basketball game in 8 years, but I'm pretty confident Kevin Durant can go out there, and I think he can score 1 point. So guys, check that out. Now's a great time to sign up on PrizePicks if you have not already, and of course, use that promo code DFSBTN. It helps me, it helps you, free money, and a free square. Nothing better than that. And then since this is the last card of the year, losing my voice, so much talking this week, I'm going to be bringing back the prop contest. Really looking forward to this contest. It is going to be whoever hits the biggest plus money prop. Biggest plus money prop, anything you want, $25 to first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker does go to the person that commented first. So yeah, comment down your biggest plus money prop. I'll comment down mine as well. See if you guys can beat me. There's a lot of plus money props I like, so comment down that prop, and we'll see who can pull off the win there. And I'll give you a shout out as well. All right. So I say we get into it, guys. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of bets to talk about. As always, going to be breaking down this card from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. If you want a further, more in-depth breakdown, I did post a full card breakdown and prediction video. I went live twice on Friday, and then I'm going live once again on Saturday. So lots of talking. Like I said, I'm up late here. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. Was up late, cooking up my final plays, finalizing everything, and just looking forward to this card. So, first fight of the card, we have Martin Buday going against Gaziev, and I have way too much money on this stupid fight. I mean, way too many bets on this stupid fight, but I like this fight from a betting perspective. So, a couple spots here. The first spot I like is the under 2.5 rounds. I have 1.5 units on it at minus 145. There are actually much better prices out there on the under 2.5. I think I saw minus 135. Out there on under 2.5 in this fight. Why do I like that? Well, Gaziev has 12 fights. He has 11 fights. 10 of those 11 fights have finished not only under 2.5 rounds, but under 1.5 rounds. I mean, this is a guy in Gaziev where I really worry about his cardio. I really worry about his gas tank. And he's super dangerous early. When he's finishing fights, he's finishing them in the first round or in like the first 30 seconds of the second round. He did go to decision once before, but it was a sloppy, greasy fight where both guys were gassed out, and it did go the full 15. And that could potentially happen here, but I just see this being Gaziev early. I think he has a ton of knockout power. Buday obviously hasn't fought the best competition. But what I will say, if this fight reaches the second round, it's going to heavily favor Martin Buday. I mean, Martin Buday is a guy that is huge for the division. He uses his size to his advantage, and God forbid he goes out here and gets a takedown, because when he does wrestle, we don't see it a lot in the UFC, but when he does wrestle, he is finishing dudes. I mean, he's a brown belt in BJJ, vicious ground and pound. It's just I would like to see him go for more takedowns. But yeah, I feel like he can wear on Gaziev, get him super tired, and finished out a gassed Gaziev down the stretch. So I like Gaziev early, Buday late. I'm on the under 2.5 or 1.5 units. I also sprinkled Gaziev round 1, half a unit, plus 460. I think that's his main win condition. If he reaches the second, I don't think he'll have anything left. And then I sprinkled a quarter unit on Buday, round 2, plus 900. And then Buday, round 3, plus 1,400. Looking for a Gaziev early finish or a Buday late finish. And like I said, I have way too much money on this stupid fight. Moving on, we got Andre Fialho going against Lucas Almeida. Yeah, nothing sticking out here. I feel like this fight is fairly binary. It's like, Andre Fialho, he probably should be the favorite here, right? Just because he has fought the much better competition. He's been in the UFC for a while now, very experienced fighter, and yeah, he has a clear path to victory. I mean, what is Almeida's hole? It's the ground game. It's the takedown defense, the ground game. Although he's a black belt, the Pat Sabatini loss wasn't the best look in the world. So yeah, in theory, Andre Fialho can go out here, win a decision. I think the finish only for Almeida is interesting. It's not something I'm completely in love with because, I don't know, I just don't feel like I trust him all that much. But, finish only for Almeida. He's a guy with a 100% finish rate. It's at plus money. That's kind of a spot I had circled. Didn't quite get to it. I'm just going to pass on this fight. I'm going to sit back and watch. I don't know what's going to happen here. I guess it all comes down to Fialho. Is he going to go out there and stand and bang, or is he going to come out there and fight smart? I'm not sure, but I feel like it's going to be a fun fight nonetheless. So nothing for me on that fight there. Moving on, we got Ulanbekov going against Cody Duran. Yeah, a fight where I'm sure a lot of people are going to be on Duran. Duran slowly but surely becoming a fan favorite, cashing as an underdog in like back-to-back fights. I was personally on him when he fought Charles Johnson. Yes, he was a dog against Charles Johnson, believe it or not. This is a spot where, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a tough matchup for Duran, and I feel like it's a spot where Tagir by sub is like super live, like really live. I bet Jake Hadley by submission against Cody Duran. Yes, it was it hurt. It hurt really bad. Cody Duran was put in some very bad spots. I'm not sure how he did not tap to this day, but he didn't. He's super tough. But at the end of the day, Cody Duran has been tapped out 3 times in his career, twice in the UFC, and he puts himself into a ton of bad spots. And I'm going back and watching some of Tagir's fights. Obviously, he had the Nate Maness first round submission, but even in like the Alon Nascimento fight, he was super close to tapping out Nascimento in that first round, had him in a tight guillotine, and I think that guillotine's one of my favorite weapons from Tagir Ulanbekov. So I think if you're on the Duran side, maybe look at Duran by decision, but I think Ulanbekov's going to get some submission opportunities here, and the prices are just stupid. Like Jake Hadley by sub was like plus 160, I think. Tagir Ulanbekov by submission, plus 360. I put 0.75 units on it. It's a spot where there's going to be opportunities because Duran puts himself into bad spots in every single fight. So at plus 360, I am taking a shot there for 0.75 units. Moving on, we got Dustin Jacobe going against Alonzo Menifield. Yeah, nothing sticking out here at all. I feel like the most likely scenario is Jacobe goes out there, outpoints Menifield to decision, but we've seen fights where Jacobe's starching durable guys in the first round, like Da Un Jong. I was not expecting that. Kennedy Nzechukwu, I was not expecting that. We've seen fights where Jacobe fights a lot closer with these guys than he really should. And then Menifield's kind of a wild card as well. Menifield's a guy that has a ton of early finishes. So yeah, I mean, I feel like this fight can go a bunch of different ways. I lean towards it going to decision. I lean towards Jacobe by decision, but it's not something I want to put my money down on, passing on this one. Moving on, we got Casey O'Neill going against Ariane Lipski. Lipski, I think, going to be another popular dog here because she, as well as Duran, has been cashing consistently as an underdog. She was a massive dog, believe it or not, against J.J. Aldrich. A pretty big dog against Melissa Gatto. This is a spot where I feel like it's pretty simple to break down. And here's how I'm breaking it down, right? If Ariane Lipski's able to stuff the takedowns, she's probably going to look like the favorite, I'd say, just because her striking is very good. She hits very hard, very clean striking from Ariane Lipski, much improved striking, right? But if she hits the ground once, I mean, I think the fight's going to be over shortly after. I mean, we saw what Antonina Shevchenko did to Ariane Lipski. Antonina Shevchenko looked like Khamzat Chimaev against Ariane Lipski. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. Because I kind of thought in that fight, Lipski might get takedowns against Antonina. But no, it was Antonina that took down Lipski and just dominated her. And then Montana De La Rosa, out of all people, TKO's Lipski as well. That was Montana De La Rosa's first and only KO win ever, I believe. So the difference between Montana De La Rosa and Antonina Shevchenko is O'Neill's mean on the mat. She is mean. She throws a ton of volume. She has incredible ground and pound. If she gets on top of Lipski, I have serious concerns, and it may only take one takedown. If she does not get a takedown, though, yes, I favor Lipski on the feet, but man, O'Neill's landing a lot of volume. She's landing with power. Lipski's chin is questionable, guys. I mean, she's been knocked out 4 times. 4 times. It's like she's the flyweight female Shannon Ross out there. I mean, that's way too many times for the female flyweight division. 4 times. Like, that's too many. 3 knockout losses in the UFC for Lipski. 1 was outside the UFC. So, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't completely shock me if O'Neal, like, swarmed her on the feet, overwhelmed her, and knocked her out on the feet. But I think the most likely scenario here for O'Neal is getting this fight down to the mat. And if she does, I think she rolls here. I think she looks like a massive favorite. We'll see if that Lipski dog money keeps rolling, keeps coming through. But I'm on the other side here. I like O'Neal. I like O'Neal inside the distance, 0.75 units at plus 255. And then I also have a quarter unit sprinkle on O'Neal KO2, plus 1,700. And then O'Neal KO3 at plus 2,200. Looking for O'Neal to get a TKO win. She loves those, and Lipski loves getting TKO'd. We'll see if she comes through. Next, we got the 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the week, the fight I will not be betting on. A fight that's really sketching me out on both sides. So, obviously, you have Cody Garbrandt, a guy that has not had an impressive performance since 2016, and I'm not joking. Yes, he has 2 wins since then, but it was against 40-year-old Rafael Assunção, where it was a very lackluster performance up until the knockout, and then his last fight against Trevin Jones, where I bet on him, but a very, very lackluster performance as well in that fight. So yeah, the last time he's looked good was like 7 years ago. And then you have Kelleher, who's coming off apparently like a major injury, a major surgery, I think neck injury. He's 37 years old. He's been finished 9 times. It's just a fight I want nothing to do with. I was thinking maybe the finish only for Kelleher, but the injury, the layoff, does really concern me on the Kelleher side. And like I said, he's been finished a ton. I'm not touching this fight. I'm not even thinking about touching this fight. I don't know what's going to happen here. I think both guys are definitely towards the end of their careers. And that's crazy to say. Like, Garbrandt's only 32 years old. He just doesn't look the same, and he hasn't looked the same. So I'm passing on this one. Next, we got Irina Aldana going against Karol Rosa. Dogger pass here. I think it's a close fight, a competitive fight. I would not feel comfortable laying minus 170 on Irina Aldana. I would not promote going out there and laying that. But at the same time, I can't come out here and say bet on Karol Rosa. I don't know. It's another fight where I want nothing to do with it. I think it's competitive. I think Karol Rosa has a path, potentially. Maybe getting this fight down the mat, landing more volume. But I do like Aldana striking. I think she has some power as well. But yeah, I mean, if Karol Rosa can land a takedown or 2, maybe she can squeak out a decision. Close fight, a fight that, I mean, there's a lot of fights I like from a betting perspective on this card. This is one I don't feel the need to go out there and place any money on. So yeah, it's a pass for me. Moving on to the main card opener. It was supposed to be Luque, Gary, but they put Bryce Mitchell, Josh Emmett onto the main card. I'm really looking forward to this main card. The majority of my bets and action is on this main card, starting with this fight. So this is one I dug very deep in on. I was even up late tonight doing more research into this fight because I don't know. The more I look into this fight, the more I feel like there's a lot of question marks. I think people are way too confident in Bryce Mitchell here. There's no evidence out there of somebody taking down Josh Emmett, controlling him throughout 15 minutes. I mean, Topuria took him down, 3 times, but that was in the 5th round after him completely dominating Josh Emmett. And then back in the day, like Scott Holtzman took him down 3 times, but, guys nobody's been able to take down and hold down Josh Emmett. Nobody. So is Bryce Mitchell going to be the first to do that? Potentially. Josh Emmett is getting up there in age at 38 years old. I mean, this fight is about as binary as you can get. It's a striker versus grappler matchup. I actually like violence here. The more I look into it, the more I think about it. I like violence in this fight. I think the under 2.5 is getting solid. The over-under opened up at about a pick'em. The over got smashed, and I get why, but at the same time, Bryce Mitchell, in theory, could have a significant advantage on the mat. If Emmett's as washed as people think, maybe Bryce Mitchell does take him down and sub him. Bryce Mitchell, only 1 submission win in the UFC, but this guy has like 7-8 submission attempts in the UFC. He wasn't able to sub Charles Rosa, but Charles Rosa, obviously really good black belt, never been subbed. Charles Rosa had to defend off 5 different submission attempts from Bryce Mitchell, and then also Dan Ige was in a really deep submission attempt. He was able to fight out of it as well. Dan Ige, black belt, never been finished as well, whereas Josh Emmett, like I said, 38 years old, he's been subbed before. So yeah, I think the Bryce Mitchell sub is a lot more live than this number indicates at plus 400. I didn't see that number until tonight because I'm looking through the odds. I'm like, okay, I might play the under here, and I'm like, what's Bryce Mitchell by sub? Plus 400. Like, that's very interesting because if he gets his fight down on the mat, the sub is going to be live, or at least he's going to try for it like crazy. With that said, though, Emmett if Bryce Mitchell's not able to get the grappling going, if he's not able to take down and hold down Emmett, I think Emmett's knocking him out. I really do. So I think the under is good first and foremost. I like violence, but this is how I'm playing it. I have 0.75 units on Emmett by knockout, plus 450. And then I have 0.75 units on Mitchell by submission, plus 400. I did this a year ago in the Moicano-Riddell fight. I bet Riddell by knockout, and then I bet Moicano by submission. And I just needed one of those to come through. I thought those were two very live outcomes. And this is kind of the same thing here. Like, Bryce Mitchell's not really a ground and pound guy. He actually has 0 knockouts. And then Josh Emmett, I just don't see him subbing Bryce Mitchell. So instead of playing the under 2.5, getting a little bit greedy, playing the Bryce Mitchell sub at Josh Emmett knockout, I think those are two very likely outcomes in this fight. Binary as it gets, striker versus grappler. Give me some violence here. Next, we have a fight that should not be happening, should not be sanctioned. I've been saying it all week. I don't know. A lot of money's been coming in on Paddy Pimblett as of late. I'll say this. I mean, do I think Tony Ferguson's completely done? Yes, and then some. But at the same time, laying this price tag at this point on Paddy minus, I think I see like minus 340. Yeah, minus 340 on Paddy Pimblett. It just makes me a little bit sick to my stomach. But at the same time, it's hard to imagine Tony Ferguson going out there and getting a win, at least for me. A lot of people are actually picking Tony Ferguson, and if you are, I encourage you to go back and watch his last 2 fights. I mean, he's on a 6-fight skid, but those last 2 fights especially have just been terrible looks. The Diaz fight where he was getting outstruck, looked very disinterested, and then like insta-tapped against Diaz. It made no sense. It still makes no sense. And then the last straw for me was that Bobby Green fight. Was super hard to watch. And then he got tapped out by Bobby Green. Again, makes no sense. I don't think Ferguson's having a career resurgence here at 39, 40 years old after taking this much damage on a 3-fight finish skid here. So yeah, I think Paddy Pimblett goes out there and finishes them, whether it's by knockout or sub, I'm not sure. But I do have Paddy Pimblett inside the distance. I have 1.5 units on it at plus 128. FanDuel Sportsbook opened up the Paddy lines first before anybody, and they had Paddy inside the distance at minus 125. I was actually going to bet it there, but I said, okay, let me wait. Let me see what the other books get out. And then I got a plus 128. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. There's a lot of plus money numbers out there for Paddy inside the distance. If you want to play Paddy, instead of laying the minus 340, I think it's inside the distance here. Just because of Tony, I don't think he can take a shot anymore. And then if this fight hits the mat, I mean, we saw Bobby Green and Diaz tap him fairly easily. So yeah, Pimblett inside the distance. I don't want to mess around with the KO or sub. I'm not sure which one it is, but just give me the inside the distance, 1.5 units plus 128. Next, we got Shavkat Rakhmonov going against Stephen Thompson. So a lot of my night does come down to Shavkat here. I have multiple bets involving Shavkat. The first thing first, I do have a parlay. Let me get the parlay out of the way for you guys. If you guys know me, you guys know this year I've really tried to not do as many parlays, be really careful with the parlays, and as always, keep them to 2 legs or less. And this is a 2-leg parlay I have. I have Shavkat Rakhmonov to win outright, minus 600. Parlayed with the Pantoja Royval under 3.5, minus 250. That comes out to minus 159, and I have 3 units on it. I like both those spots. Those are my 2 favorite spots on the card, Shavkat to win, and then violence in the co-main event. So we'll get that out of the way. What I also like in this Shavkat fight is Shavkat by knockout is really intriguing to me. I had to bet it, 0.75 units plus 320 for Shavkat by knockout. The reason being is, I mean, Shavkat has 17 wins, 17 finishes, 9 come by sub, 8 come by knockout. Like, it's super close. Wonderboy Thompson's never been submitted ever, and he actually has good submission defense. Like, he was able to survive on the mat against Gilbert Burns, and what did it for me, why I do like this Shavkat by KO, and obviously he could sub Thompson, obviously, but I mean, the sub's plus 120, and the KO is plus 300. Like, come on. I feel like the KO is just as live, and here's why. I mean, go back to the Belal Muhammad fight against Stephen Thompson. Belal Muhammad, out of all people, was a split second away from finishing the fight. Multiple occasions in that Thompson fight with his ground and pound. The fight was almost stopped, and it potentially could have been stopped. And I was thinking to myself, my gosh, like, if Belal Muhammad is almost TKOing you, what the heck is Shavkat Rakhmonov going to do? I mean, Shavkat's ground and pound is some of the best, if not the best in the division. This guy's ground and pound is completely vicious. So, yeah, Shavkat by knockout. Could he sub him? Yes, obviously, but plus 300. I got it at plus 320. It has moved a tick, but still plus 300 out there. I don't think it's the worst look in the world. What I also did was I have 0.75 units on Shavkat Rakhmonov round 2, plus 380, and then 0.5 units on Shavkat round 3, plus 650. I think it's a finish. I think it's a late finish, though. I don't think Stephen Thompson, even at 40 years old, is some bum. I think he's going to be able to survive at least a little bit, but I think at some point the damage is going to add up and Shavkat is going to find a finish, but I think it's later in the fight. So you have Shavkat round 2, round 3, Shavkat by KO, Shavkat parlay piece. If Stephen Thompson wins this fight, it's going to hurt. So, yeah, give me Shavkat. Fairly confident in him. This should be a winnable match. I mean, it's a great matchup for him. Stylistically, it's a phenomenal matchup for Shavkat Rakhmonov, so we'll see if he can go out there and get the job done. Next, we got the co-main event. Alexander Pantoja going against Brandon Royval. Already talked about it. I have the under 3.5 as a parlay piece. You know, when I was doing my research, you know, I like to take notes and potential bets I like to look out for. And I'm like, okay, I'm max betting the fight doesn't go to decision before any of the lines come out, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm max betting the fight doesn't go. I love it. I love violence here. They open up the fight, doesn't go to decision at minus 550. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, it's a flyweight fight, but no, I mean, I love violence here. Obviously, it's chalky. It's really juiced here. Minus 500 for the fight doesn't go at this point, but it's hard to imagine this fight getting extended, which is with the pace both guys set, especially Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval sets an incredible pace. Both these guys are defensively irresponsible, especially Royval. Royval has no striking defense, no takedown defense, puts himself into a lot of bad spots, and that's how he got caught in the first fight. So, yeah, I'm kind of leaning Pantoja early on. But I think if this fight gets extended, like Brandon Royval is going to have a good shot here. I love the pace, the pressure of Brandon Royval. And if you go back and watch that first fight, it really looked like Pantoja was about to break up until he slipped up, gave his back, and Pantoja tapped him out. So I kind of see this being Pantoja early, and potentially Royval could be early as well. But if this fight gets extended, I do think Royval is going to have a shot down the stretch. So first and foremost, I'm on the under 3.5 as a parlay piece. I think it's a great parlay piece. Around minus 250. What I also am on is the fight ends by sub, 1 unit at plus 100. The reason being is, obviously, I think Pantoja by sub is my pick for the fight. I think it's a first or second round sub here. Brandon Royval makes a ton of mistakes on the mat. And yeah, Pantoja by sub is very much on the table. I think he could do it again. Royval could also get a sub. Like, if Royval finishes this fight, I don't think it's by knockout. Like, Pantoja's chin is incredible. This guy has a brick forehead. I'm not sure Royval's knocking out Pantoja. And you look through Royval's record, he's not a knockout guy. He has a 60% submission rate, which is incredible. And I know this doesn't mean much, but at the press conference, he did pick a club and sub victory for what it's worth, Royval. So yeah, he's a sub guy, mostly. So I think the fight ends by sub at plus money. When the fight doesn't goes minus 500, I like it. 1 unit on that. And then I also have some crazy, wild dart throws, and I'm talking wild, I'm talking stupid, I'm talking silly. We're getting a little silly here to end the year, and that's these Royval sub props. It is also something that I wrote down before the odds came out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a look at these Royval late props, specifically by sub, and to my surprise, these prices are just stupid. If this fight reaches the second, third round, I mean, these are going to be very live here for Royval. So 0.5 units in total. I have Royval sub 2 plus 3,300 for 0.15 units. Royval sub 3 plus 4,300 for 0.15 units. Royval sub 4 plus 5,500 for 0.1 units. And then Royval sub 5 plus 8,000 for 0.1 units. If this fight gets extended, it's going to be very live. It's going to be there. They're crazy, but my gosh, these prices. I mean, they're favoring the KO more than the sub for Royval. I just disagree. I mean, I don't think he's knocking out Pantoja. I think it's sub. So yeah, those sub props are pretty crazy. We'll see if they come through. But regardless, first and foremost, I like the fight ends by sub. I like the under 3.5 rounds there. So yeah, a lot of action on that co-main event. And if Royval gets a second, third, or fourth, or fifth round sub, it's gonna be a great time. Great time. All right. Moving on, we have the co-main event, Leon Edwards going against Colby Covington. And yeah, there's two spots that I like here. The first one is going to be Colby Covington to win in rounds 4, 5, or decision. And I have 1.5 units on that at plus 220. It's still plus 200. I think it's a great way to play Colby. You're getting a little bit better than the money line around plus 140, plus 135. Colby Covington's really not finishing anybody, and I don't expect him to get a finish here. If he does get a finish, though, I think it's probably late, 4th, 5th round, so it just covers more bases there, more rounds. And yeah, I like Colby Covington in this fight. I do. I think it could be close and competitive, But this is just a winnable fight. It's a fight where, yes, Leon Edwards is the much better striker technically by a mile. I love the striking of Leon Edwards, but he's super low volume, attempting only 8 strikes per minute, whereas Colby's attempting 18 at distance. And then on top of that, like outside of the striking, it's just Colby Covington, relentless with the takedowns, the chain wrestling. If he doesn't take you down the first time, he's probably getting you down the second time. If he's not getting you down the second time, he's probably going to get you down on the third attempt, so on and so forth. He can wrestle. He can shoot 10, 15, 20 takedowns if need be. The cardio is not an issue. The reason I'm not like super confident, max bet type confident, is because Colby Covington is 35. He is coming off of a major layoff, and I do worry about the durability. He's been knocked down like 5 times in the last like 3-4 fights. Usman knocked him down 4 times total. And then also Jorge Masvidal, although they didn't count it officially as a knockdown. I mean, he got dropped in that fight. So, yeah, nothing I'm going to go out there and max bet, but I do like that Colby Covington 4-5 decision. And then what I also like is something I haven't bet in a while, but something I am bringing back to end the year, and that's going to be the fight to end by split decision at plus 450. The reason being is the judges are corrupt. The judges suck, and they actually show the names of the judges for this card. And it was like Sal D'Amato, Derek Clearly, and Chris Lee. The worst judges imaginable for the main event here. Colby Covington, Leon Edwards. So yeah, I have a strong suspicion like these judges like fall asleep, during these 25-minute fights, because we've seen some stupid scorecards throughout the years on some of these main events. So yeah, in a fight where you got damage versus control type stuff, right? Yeah, I could see a split decision here. I could see one like stupid scorecard from Chris Lee, just like completely different from the other two. Like I could see something stupid here. So plus 450 for split. I think it goes to decision more often than not, and I think the split's going to be very much on the table. So looking for Colby to win this fight by split decision. So there you guys have it, ending the year hopefully on a high note. Lots of plays here. 16 units on the line. Not my biggest card of the year, not even my second, third, but it's up there. It's a pretty big card for me. I like a lot of spots. I like a lot of violence. Best of luck to everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to comment down your biggest plus money prop. We'll see who can get it. I'll be commenting down mine as well. And thank you guys for a great year. It's been a fun year. I can't wait to get right back into it for 2024. Some really big things coming next year. So yeah, guys, best of luck for UFC 296. Enjoy the fights and have a great break. Enjoy the family. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll see you guys back in 2024. See you later.